All right, what happens when you step on the brakes? We're talking about the commutative property addition, the commutative property of multiplication, the associative property of addition, associative property of multiplication, identity property of addition, and identity property of multiplication. And sometimes none of them apply and you say the statement is false. So if you have n plus 5 equals 5 plus n, what are you doing? Commutative property of addition, because it's going back and forth and we're adding. So all you're going to do is put the letter I there, and then you're going to put I in box number 1. Here, d times 8, 8 times d, we're doing what operation? Multiplication, and we're commuting. We're going in two different directions. Commutative property of multiplication is letter U. Here, I have 5 times x times y, or 5 times quantity x times y, and then I have quantity 5 times x times y. So what happened in these two expressions? The parentheses changed. You're associating x and y here, and you're associating 5 and x here. But is it a problem? No, because we're multiplying. So we're doing the associative property of multiplication. In this case, and this, you know what this is. In this case, we're multiplying w times 1. Whenever you multiply by 1, what do we call that? It stays itself. Whenever it stays itself, it's an identity property. If we multiply by 1, it's going to have to be the identity property of what operator? Multiplication. So that's going to be the letter A. Whenever it stays itself and the value doesn't change, it will be an identity. And there's a tricky one here. I want to show you number 22. I don't remember what it's going to be. But what is this? H over k times n over n. What is n over n always going to be, regardless of what n's value is? 1, because it's a big one. I don't care what n is. It's going to be 1. So what is this going to be? The identity property. What's this one going to be? D minus d. What is d minus d? 0. So this is going to be 0. So if t plus 0 equals t, so what do you think that is? That's also identity. But what is it doing? What's the operator being used? Addition. All right, so that's the identity property of addition. The identity property of addition uses 0. The identity property of multiplication uses 1. Questions?